Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you. You're watching another episode of Encounter. Today, in the studios of the NBC, we have Sophia Su, who was a previous guest in the previous episodes of Encounter, but she had to be here for this fourth season. Sophia, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you for being present with us.
Thank you, it's an honor.
Last time you were present, you spoke about craniosacral, which we will give our viewers a small reminder in the minutes to come. But today, you're here to speak about the original matrix reactivation, which is called OMR.
Yeah.
It is a skill that you have acquired over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think this is a perfect platform that you can share with the viewers of Encounter what it is.
Yeah.
But first things first, Sophia, let's just give a reminder one of the skills that you already have, which is craniosacral.
Yeah.
Can you remind our viewers what it is?
Yes. So craniosacral therapy is originated from osteopathy, and it is linked to the craniosacral system, which consists of the cranium enveloping the brain, the central nervous system, the spinal cord, and the end of the spine, which is the sacrum. So that system is the very core of our being, and the craniosacral system consists of realigning that and releasing the tensions at that level, so that the whole being might rebalance and find its equilibrium again.
So you have a lot of people coming to see you for, shall I call it a craniosacral healing or a session? A session, exactly.
Yes, it's called craniosacral
session. Why is it important to have it? You said about rebalance. So what are we rebalancing?
Yeah. So we are, and it is also part of the explanation of OMR, but we'll come to that afterwards. It's really important to rebalance who we are, yeah? And I know it's a vital question, especially nowadays. Everyone is asking, who am I and who we are? So we are made up of a physical body, an energetical body, an emotional body, a mental body, a memory body, a conscious body, and a divine body. So the rebalancing happens at that level, where through the physical body, we can access to all our other dimensions and bodies. So the craniosacral, as I've just said, is really from the brain to the sacrum in that vertical axis, which is just linked to all the chakras.
All the main seven
and the
chakras.
main 7 chakras, which are just the manifestation of the 7 other bodies, the 6 other bodies.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So the craniosacral therapy helps rebalancing the whole fields, but we'll talk about fields afterwards.
Well, Sophia, we could speak another 26 minutes about craniosacral,
Yes,
but one last question. Everyone is busy in their life. We're moving on, work, life, family, career. Do we even have time to think about rebalancing our life?
Well, we should find time, because it's really the core of our life, yeah? We know that we are co-creators and masters of what's happening to us. So I really encourage and remind people to be a kind of more selfish and start thinking about rebalancing themselves before fixing others, because in our education and in our beliefs, we are taught more to be there for others first and not take care of ourselves. But we are really the core of everything that's happening around us, yes?
Sophia, one of the telltale signs that someone needs rebalancing is someone going through stress, a past trauma, burnouts, anxiety, or difficulty in relationships. Does that equate in all of it?
Yes, definitely.
But also to connect with the higher energies also?
Of course, of course. Well, the higher energy, it is what is linked to OMR. We're coming to that afterwards. All the symptoms that you've just talked about, pointed, are actually I'd say always, it's already too late if someone comes to me with those issues, yeah? Because our body, our physical body gives us signals before reaching a burnout or a depression or severe anxiety symptoms. So we really need to listen. It's like when people come to see me, I say always, I'm like a garage, yeah? You're taking your car to being fixed. And if you always bring your car for the same problem, at some point, you can't continue fixing the car. You need to ask you ask the driver how he's driving the car and, and have a more holistic approach.
So you go deeper into the same
So
problem.
we really go deeper, yes. So when we talk about depression, burnout, anxiety, those are really the symptoms of the real issue. And it's all about going to the source and releasing the core.
Because at the same time, if somebody is suffering from any of these symptoms that we just mentioned,
Yeah.
it normally gives you short-term release, but it's important to work on avoiding it in the future.
Exactly.
So probably that leads us to OMR,
Yes.
the original matrix reactivation.
Yeah.
It's not activation, it's reactivation.
Exactly.
So first things first, it's also a fairly new term to me. What is OMR?
Yeah. So OMR, as you've said, is the original matrix reactivation. OMR stands also for original me reactivation, yeah, or it may also be the reactivation, yeah, coming back to the source. Matrix, it's a word that defines codes, coding, yeah, and original is linked to the original codes that we carry and that are present, that are innate, that are here within ourselves and each one of us. Reactivation, why reactivation? Because it is always there, already there, and that throughout our life we are brought to disconnect from who we are. At some point, we need to reconnect, and those codes need to be reactivated so that we can fully be into our own potential and full potential. Yeah.
Sophia, many people, including myself, we're not aware that there are codes within us. The concept of a matrix is fairly new. Can you please explain a little bit more to us? I mean, is there a matrix within us?
Yes. So when we hear about matrix and coding, when we are born, yes, we are brought up by our families and close ones who present us some programs. They, through education, mother, father, they have their own programs and conditionings that they bring, their beliefs from their ancestors. And then, so when one is born, that person is like already conditioned, to represent the programs of their parents. So this is the first matrix.
It's a conditioning that
that
we all go through.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
of course.
Yeah, and then there is another kind. So this is the personal matrix. Yeah, so we find our codes ourselves. We define our codes, and we create our codes around that.
But we have no guarantee that these are the right codes.
We don't
because
know.
we learn as we go, right?
Exactly. Knowing that the family system itself depends on the community. And the community itself depends, which is another form of matrix.
That's the social aspect of it.
Social aspect of it. I call it matrix because there are codes at all levels. Yeah?
Okay.
And then there is the community itself is influenced by the planetary matrix, planetary codes, international codes. Yes, we tend to follow organizations, world organizations, etc., etc. So at the end of the day, the human being is completely encoded, but not really knowing if it is the right codes for him.
So is it safe to say that we are tending to follow materialistic and physical codes rather than what connects us to what is higher or where we can probably expand within?
Exactly. I see that way. Exactly. Yes. We have no choice because the flow is so powerful because the tendency is there because we don't want to be rejected because we want to be part of because we are scared of being left alone. So the human being tend to conform to those normal or to the systems that are just perfect, the system that should be perfect. Yes, completely. Sometimes what I see in sessions since years, forgetting or even not allowing themselves to be who they are. Yeah,
Or expressing who they want to be also.
and who they want to be, exactly.
Of course.
And from my point of view, dis-ease, which is dis-ease and sickness and pain and suffering comes from there.
This is where the easiness stops this disease, as you mentioned.
This
Okay,
is.
that's a nice play of words. Sophia, we'll be back in a short while. Let's have a look at more in details what is the original matrix reactivation, and I also invite the viewers of Encounter to watch it. We'll be back shortly. The original matrix reactivation is defined as the return to the source, the original matrix, the deep nature of our being, that buried part of us that knows who it is, that feels things in the right way, that is in touch with its own truth, with the divine, the universal wisdom. The reactivation of those source codes in us brings a correction and a rebalancing in our body through an expansion of our field. This field is composed of vibratory frequencies which carry all the information from our incarnation in our mother's womb through the transgenerational and from this life and those that precede it, without counting the memories of all the history of humanity, taking into account the interconnection that we have with our entire universe. Through our genetics, we capture all the family, ancestral, social and environmental conditioning, but also the divine codes linked to the whole universal field. The field is defined as a large web that is constantly adapting to our states and all the information programs that we record, that we create, and that are imposed on us. This field is formed by our beliefs. The OMR process serves to recognize blockages, to deprogram everything that no longer serves us, and to reactivate our vibratory power in order to find ourselves fully in our potential. It is a return home where we feel confident in our spirit, our body, and ourselves. Welcome back. You're still watching Encounter, and Sophia is still with us in the studio. Sophia, is OMR, original matrix reactivation, very popular, or is it a fairly new concept that you have coined?
Yes, it is a very new concept, born out of years of experience and researches.
You're practicing OMR with people.
Yes.
I have to ask you, what has been your experience since you discovered OMR? What changes happened to you? And that's part one. Part two is,
Yes.
please explain what is the divine connection or divine matrix.
Yeah. So part one. Yeah.
Part one.
Part one. What I have experienced and what people have experienced. So for myself, it feels like when I walk through life now, it feels like I see life from I'm always like in a big picture. Yeah. I see life from a very broader, with a kind of detachment, but which is not a detachment where I don't care about what's going on. It's with really seeing the big picture. On dit en français prendre du recul.
Of course.
Yeah. But of course, that doesn't mean that I am not trapped into the 3D matrix, as we say. 3D matrix is the physical, the emotional, and the mental field, because we are also part of it, of course. Yeah. So it happens also that I just go, je fais des allers-retours.
Okay.
Yeah, bien sûr. But it's much easier to have that detachment. Yeah, this is personal.
That's perfect.
Now, when people come to see me, what they say, wow, I feel like much lighter. I feel liberated from whatever I've been experiencing before or carrying. It feels like a big weight has gone off my shoulders. It feels like I am more aligned, I am more centered, I'm more connected to myself, I am more at peace with myself.
What is the divine matrix?
The divine matrix is the source. It's the universal intelligence. It's where everything is. Yeah, the universe is just very massive, soft technology. It is highly advanced. It is just perfect. Yeah, we human beings think that we control things and we master and we should do but the universe has it all. Yeah, the divine matrix means that everything is perfect and the codes, all the original codes are already there. I mean, since thousands of years, our ancestors
I,
our wise masters.
I have to ask you this question, and I
Yes.
probably have to challenge you on this. Do you have any kind of proof, or what if someone does not believe in all this? What do you have to tell to them?
So I have my own experiment. My own experiment. I've told you throughout the last encounter that I have a child who's born with a handicap
Yes,
that brought me to craniosacral therapy. In 2017, I had a near-death experience with her. I went through that with her, which for me was a gift coming from her, just to confirm me that those other dimensions really exist and that the divine matrix is really there. Yeah, I have been reading through it over years. I've been studying, believing, and then I had the experiment myself. Well, when she was in a coma for 3 days, and then she passed away, all the machine had stopped. And I was there standing next to her bed in ICU. And as soon as that happened, I could see the little green men that I call, that are the doctors. You understand why I say the little green men. The little green men walked in to fix her body and to check and to see what was going on.
so you were visualizing.
Yes, I
Okay.
was there. And then at that moment, everything went very fast and time was not existing. I felt myself growing and reaching a dimension that I've never experienced before, like growing some meters, like nearly touching the ceiling, where I was out of my body. Yeah. And at that moment, I could feel a presence next to me, standing there, and I could feel that I was not alone, and there were other
Beings.
around. The doctor was aware that I was still here and was about to tell me to leave the room, where I could see my daughter leave her body.
Okay, because all she was already a flat line on the machine.
She was a flat line for some minutes.
Okay.
The doctors were trying to fix her body, and I could feel from the dimension in which I was, I could see her leaving her body and reconnecting with me at that level,
Okay.
just at the side of her bed with other beings. And then I understood, and I was extremely peaceful, and I was I was surrendering completely, very calm, very quiet. And then I could really feel that, oh, okay, everything that I have read, heard, uh, uh, yeah,
Anything like that before?
like that before was really happening. Yes. And then I left the room because the doctor asked me to leave for some minutes. And he just said, you know what? We're doing our best. Keep faith. And then I was at Clinique Darnay,
Okay.
the first floor in front of ICU, walking around and crying, but not crying because I was in pain, because I was in grace. Yeah, I was touched by grace because I was experiencing something that was way beyond our human dimension.
But how can you be experiencing grace at the same time when your daughter is flatlining on the treatment table? That doesn't
I
make
know
sense.
it doesn't make sense in the
And you were still peaceful.
Yes, I was completely peaceful, and I was touched by grace. Yeah, crying, and next to me there was my daughter. I could feel her presence walking and reassuring me that everything was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had to go through that process of letting go and surrendering and understanding that the physical body is not just what we are, that we are definitely much more than that.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was part of the journey to create or to found to be the founder of finding, I don't know how to say it, OMR. Yeah.
OMR.
So she stays my master, Leonie. So and then I had a phone call from my son who was in Germany at the time, and I said, Matthias, do you know what? I'm experiencing something very bizarre. I am like 10 feet tall, and Leonie is next to me, but she's dead,
Okay.
and I don't know what's going on. And he was like, Mom, just let her go, let her soul go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fine. She was a gift to us. Let her go. And then I could feel my daughter telling me or passing me the message that was divine, was saying, if I'm coming back, it's not for you. I'm coming back for my siblings because I know that you're fine. And at that very moment, the doctor, maybe a few seconds after, the doctor came out of ICU and said, she's back.
That's the hope.
Yes. So that was an experience that for me confirmed that it was real, that it is real. We are not just those little human beings with our mind and our emotions and our physical bodies, but we are all those dimensions.
So we're able to experience bigger things than what we think.
Definitely.
Sophia, thank you very much for sharing this beautiful story with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for introducing us to OMR, which seems and sounds like a beautiful concept.
It is.
I wish you all the best going forward, and keep
you.
shining, keep doing the great work. It's always a pleasure to have you on a program of Encounter, and hopefully this is not the last one.
Thank you, and you are doing a great job too, and thank you for being there.
Oh, fantastic, Sophia.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of this episode of Encounter. Thank you very much for being with us. If you have any questions on the topic that was discussed, on the guest who is present in the studio, or you have any suggestions for any future topics or any future person that might be interviewed, drop us an email. It is encounter@mbc.itnet.mu. Until the very next program, goodbye.